all right. If we could stop from the filibustering just a bit. State partners, what happened this week? It doesn't seem as if there's good state partners going on if you and the governor did not even talk ahead of time about what's going on with hemp legislation.
But there, look, the lines of communications are open, but people have to take advantage of the open communication line, and often that didn't happen with regard to the hemp bill. Didn't call anybody in my administration. Never raised it. And with regard to his...
What we're hearing back from the governor's office is he's concerned about children, and and again, this is their take, you're concerned about businesses. What's happened there? Why are you not ready to regulate the hemp industry?
We are. We're all in agreement with regulation, particularly strict regulation around the hemp industry. Listen.
And the same is true with the mayor of the city of Chicago and his staff. They don't reach out very often, and it seems like they don't have good relationships in Springfield, in part because they don't do the outreach that's necessary. But
in fact,
to go against the governor and to already have this conflict this early on in the year, when you talk about state partners for education, will that not end up being a tough one to reconcile?
So budget, literally, the last call that we got from them was in September, and then once in December, we by the way, scheduled calls, and then they didn't show up. And then there was a December call that happened in which they didn't ask for anything. They just got on and reported on what was in the budget, and then no other communication. But again, he has my number. They have all of our staff numbers. We're open to anything they would like to talk about.
So there's no conflict. We both agree that we have to have strict regulations. In fact, during the budget process, we put forth and led the way on stricter regulations that were not particularly in this legislation. Here's what we said, and here's what has actually happened. And I'm grateful that the Chicago delegation helped lead this charge. The city of Chicago and municipalities around the state, we have to be at the table to make sure that those regulations, of course, reflect the values of local communities, while also making sure that all stakeholders are available to be a part of this conversation. That is what's important in this moment here. We are all in agreement. In fact, the presentation that...
Again, I've taken calls from the mayor whenever he has my direct number. He calls me whenever he needs to. He doesn't call very often. Maybe in the time that he's been mayor, he's called me perhaps 5 times. That's about 2 years almost. And I have no reticence to call him if there's something that I want to raise with him, and my staff doesn't have any reticence. But
to come together as a state to come up with real comprehensive regulations to ensure maximum security, but also making sure that local municipalities get to play a part in those negotiations.
All right.